Hi there, I'm Nat from the Sport Rec and Health team at Leisure Networks. Thanks for joining this virtual webinar, which will hopefully provide you with some ideas, resources and example of how to connect more young people at your local community club. It will help to support your club vision to see a really vibrant community club where young people are connected, active and feel really engaged, helping to shape solutions for inclusions and ideas for sustainability. Firstly, let me tell you who we are. Leisure Networks is a great community-based organisation offering a really wide range of NDI services and community sport programs. We work with both people and places to enable individuals to influence, promote and enable healthy promoting environments and systems. We love what we do and we love our work that we do in supporting people to connect to the community. Now, Leisure Networks' impacts across the G21 region in 2021 resulted in the delivery of 40 workshops to clubs, over 1,000 volunteers, and supported areas such as governance, membership retention, volunteer management, child safe standards, financial management, and COVID-19 recovery. We have a highly capable team with skills and expertise in working with grassroots clubs and community volunteers to support the development of healthy, inclusive and accessible community clubs. Now, Leisure Networks' impacts across the G21 region in 2021 resulted in the delivery of 40 workshops to clubs, over 1,000 volunteers, and supported areas such as governance, membership retention, volunteer management, child safe standards, financial management, and COVID-19 recovery. We have a highly capable team with skills and expertise in working with grassroots clubs and community volunteers to support the development of healthy, inclusive and accessible community clubs. Boards or committees can be a really great way for young people to share ideas and to use their skills within a community sport club. A young person's perspective can really make community sports more relevant, appropriate and effective. This next video from a young leader at Netball Vic explains how and why the need for a junior committee was created at Frankston District Netball Club, and also promotes the value and benefit in listening to the voice of young people.
Hi, I'm Emily from Netball Victoria's Youth Advisory Committee and FGNA's Junior Committee. The FGNA Inaugural Junior Committee was developed by our Board of Management in 2021 to promote the participation and empowerment of young people, giving us the platform and opportunity to represent the voices and opinions of our junior participants. The Junior Committee gains a different perspective than our Board of Management, highlighting the importance for organisations to take into consideration how we, as young people, feel about what goes on in our beloved game. Being a member of the committee allows me to have the opportunity to work with highly respected members of the netball community, to empower me to act as a representative of youth members and to voice our opinions on issues regarding netball.
If you're interested in learning more about how to get started and begin the process in recruiting young people on a junior committee, tune into this next video with Jen Camilleri, the General Manager from Netball Victoria, for some really great tips.
This is General Manager at Netball Victoria. Today I'm just going to talk a little bit about how to attract and recruit members for your Youth Advisory Committee and getting started and what could co-design look like for us when we engaged our committee. So it was decided last year that it was really important to get the views of our young members of our netball community and talk about what they think was important and get them involved in shaping the future of netball. And this came from the board down, so it's very important to make sure that you're getting agreement across the organisation and involvement and real buy-in, and we absolutely had that at Netball Victoria. So in terms of attracting the committee, we were really clear about what we wanted when we went out and promoted this new idea. We had the idea that we wanted to attract people between 15 to 24 years of age. We wanted a diverse group. We wanted males, females, people from Metro Melbourne and regional Victoria. And what we wanted them to know was, we think that their views, ideas and values were really important, and to let us know what's impacting netball. So we originally went out on our socials, advertising this recruitment phase that we were going through. We went to our affiliates and we asked them to identify the people in their netball communities who they think were showing leadership skills and who they thought would be someone that would really add value to this group at Netball Victoria level. We also went out to staff. So we were looking to make sure that we had a diverse group, people from multicultural backgrounds, the LGBTQI plus community, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. So we went out to our staff and asked them, who in our community have you identified in these groups that you should be applying? Now, we know that young people undersell themselves and will probably be hesitant and think, oh, am I good enough? Am I the right person? So I think shoulder tapping was a really important part of the recruitment phase. And we certainly ended up with some really good members through this process. In terms of the recruiting phase, we actually went in with no preconceived ideas. We were very clear about wanting this inaugural group, to really establish who they were and what they wanted to be, and what their objectives were. So through the recruiting process, while we talked about Netball Victoria wanting to provide empowerment, partnerships, inclusiveness and enrichment from the group, we asked them during the interview process, what is it that you want, what is it that you envisage the group doing? How many do you think should be in it? What ages do you think? And we were getting the ideas from the group about what they thought and what they thought was important. The other thing was, during the recruitment phase, we did ask them to put their top 3 priorities of ideas or issues that they think are happening in the netball community they think are important. And by doing this enabled us to get a really good cross-section of the community and a real good cross-section of ideas that was going to come into the group and hopefully have an impact in the future. So they were 2 really important questions during the recruiting process. The other thing was that we wanted to make sure that we had a young member of staff with us during the interview phase. So we thought it was important that the young people being interviewed had someone relatable in the room, that their age, and that they also showed them that we value young people in our organisation, and you can't be what you can't see, and we certainly encourage and empower young people to have a voice. So that was an important part for us too, was to ensure we had that young representation during the recruitment phase. Once we finally recruited, we ended up with 18 members on our inaugural board, inaugural committee. It was such a passionate group of people, and while we thought it was going to be a little bit smaller, like I said, we had no preconceived ideas, but we based it on what the applications were like, and it was just, we were blown away by the amount of passion out there. So the group was a little bit larger than what we first thought, but that was because we had no preconceived ideas. So the next phase for the group, once they were established, was to bring them together, and they had 3 full-day sessions, and this was about co-designing what the future looked like for them during their term on this committee. So the first of the 3 sessions was with a company called Mad for Leaders, and this session was about the group coming together and really quickly breaking down those barriers, getting to know each other really quickly, and it was about establishing trusting relationships with this group right from the get-go. And part of that session also included them talking about what values they wanted to hold as a group, and what they, as a group agreement, they would stand by when they met and moved through their term. So things like listening, being respectful to other people's views, etc. So they were very much involved in setting that environment and creating that platform before we even started talking about what exactly they were going to achieve. So the next two full day sessions were with a lady named Nikki from Life Sport Journey. Now, her aim in those 2 days was to talk about what it is the group wanted to achieve, and at the end of the day, have a strategic plan that the group would be guided by through their term on the committee. So the first day was we did a SWOT analysis of Netball Victoria. So the group were asked, what are the strengths in Netball Victoria? What are the weaknesses that you identify at Netball Victoria? What are some of the opportunities and what are some of the threats? So through that process with the group, we then identified 12 strategic priorities that they came up with through that. So once we had those 12, they sort of nutted out those 12 strategic priorities, we then on the second day asked them to think about what are your priorities within those 12? What is it you've got time to work on? Is it 2 or 3 of those? Here are some ideas about how we can achieve making change and influence change in these areas. And that actually brought together the strategic plan. So everyone's now identified what they want to work on. They can go away and work in subgroups, and they can, Netball Victoria and ourselves will just pretty much facilitate and guide them and make sure that they've got that conduit between Netball Victoria and what they're doing, and they're in touch with the right people to achieve what their goals are. But at the end of the day, the most important thing when we were going through this process was it's their plan, it's their words, and it's theirs. So, and it belongs to them. That was the most important thing that we wanted them to know when they were going through these 2 days and putting together this strategic plan. And just as the group got to know each other, got to understand what they wanted to achieve, we then asked them to talk about what their purpose is. We wanted to make sure that they were comfortable with that name we'd given them, the Youth Advisory Committee. Did they want to change it? Did they feel like they identified differently to that? And we wanted them to be clear about what their objectives were. So this then packaged up the strategic plan, and they are now ready to hit the ground running. Monthly meetings now with the group to make sure that they're staying on track with what they've decided they want to work on. Very excited for this group to get started. We're about to have our first meeting shortly. But already there's been impact that this group's had in the netball community. Netball Victoria has developing their new strategic plan, which ends this year. So the board and the exec group at Netball Victoria has agreed that they want to have the Youth Advisory Committee involved in and consulted around MV's strategic plan going forward. They're absolutely embraced by the Netball Victoria right across the organisation, a number of groups, knowing the value of just getting young people's views when they're working on projects or programs. That's already started. We had one member of the group be interviewed and talked about the importance of choice in uniforms on Transgender Visibility Day. So that was very exciting for her, and that was just recently. And there's been a panel of the young group, 4 of the group, who are going to be at a pre-game Vixens match panel with our stakeholders and our partners and the board, talking about what it is they're going to be achieving during their term. And already one person has they've created a pathway into Netball Victoria. She's very passionate about coaching, and she's become one of our community coaches. So I hope this has helped give you some ideas about how to get started with setting up your own youth advisory committee. Thank you for your time. Bye.